Hey, folks, welcome back to Health in Tech, where I don't smile. We are with Amanda Nystrom, National Health Board Certified Health and Wellbeing Coach. Amanda, what are we talking about today?
JD. Well, last episode we talked about essentialism and the idea of cutting out all the things that are non-essential to our life so that we can focus on what is most meaningful right now and most impactful. To use your term, highest ROI. And today we're following that up with the similar idea, but taken a little bit more personally, which is minimalism
All
and
right,
how
so
that contributes to your stress.
so just to follow up, essentialism is basically a value base versus minimalism, which is a you're supposed to
Well,
answer.
I would say essentialism is the disciplined pursuit of less. So going after less things, having less activities in your life and focusing on what truly matters. And minimalism is weeding out all of the noise.
Okay. So how do we pursue or achieve minimalism?
Well, I think first is the awareness of how much our stuff causes us stress and how that equates to weight that we carry. You know, you and I have talked about, like if we have a lawnmower, which we know intimately, how much management it takes to have a lawnmower. People think, oh, you have the upfront cost. But then if you actually buy it, you have to transport it, which takes fuel. And then you have to maintain it and you have to provide it everything that it needs throughout its lifetime. And if you don't maintain it properly, then you have all of the costs above and beyond that to maybe repair it, or keep it with the value that you originally had from it, and then keep it going for as long as you possibly can before then you also have the weight that it takes to store it and to remove it from your life when you inevitably need to.
Okay, but
And
you need, I mean, yes, but if we don't have a lawnmower, we're gonna be overtaken, and they're going to find our bodies consumed by God only knows what, mountain lion, bear, fox, right? I mean, we have to have a lawnmower. We have 20 acres in the Rocky Mountains.
right, a lawnmower is probably a really bad example because it is essential, which per our last episode, if you have grass, you really should have a lawnmower. Or one of those big beasts of a lawnmower, which I'm so jealous of. We need to get one. Anyway, um, with the idea of minimalism, it's cutting out all the things in your life that aren't essential. So, like, you don't need 17 pairs of pants, do you?
I certainly don't. I have 3. But I know someone else very close to me that is demanding a closet for all of those things.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I would like to throw one in here that is close to your heart, and I think anybody who is relatively domestic, professional or not. Would you agree with this statement? There is a great deal of relief and honestly joy to a clean, empty kitchen sink.
Absolutely.
Okay. So using that example in mind, perhaps you don't need place settings for 16, right? We actually are pretty good about this. We went through a period a couple of years ago where we're like, I mean, we had, I mean, 30 people could come over and they'd all get a plate. And that's not the case anymore. Um, when we were doing the schoolie life thing, that became very apparent in that you just don't have space for it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, I got the space for it. I'm like, "Oh, no, what you have is the overhead of maintaining it. If you are a family of 4, you need 6 plates, 1 for each family member and 2 for guests. You do not need 16 plates. If you need 16 plates, go to Walmart, pick up some paper plates because it's only going to happen once or twice a year. So what happens if you're not doing the minimalist thing is that the sink gets full. And when the sink is full of dirty dishes Everybody avoids it till when? The end of the night, when you're tired, when you want to relax, when you want to reflect on the return on investment of your guests or your friends or your day. But you can't because you filled up the sink with dishes.
I love that analogy, both in that it's so accurate on the surface, but if you dig into it, it is also so, so accurate. And the reason that I wanted to bring up minimalism, I, I went through a phase where I'm like, I'm getting rid of anything that's not essential and doesn't bring me joy because joy is so important in our lives. And that's why we should have certain things. It's good for our souls and, our emotional regulation. And it was great. But no matter how much stuff I got rid of, I always felt like I had too much stuff. And it partially because it was stuff that I felt meant something, that I needed to have, that it would give me security. And I was refreshing um, my knowledge of minimalism from this book called Love People Use Things Because the Opposite Never Works, by Joshua Fields Milburn. And one of the things that he says in here is that our material possessions are a physical manifestation of our internal lives. And that
Mm.
one just, it hit me.
Oh, it's funny you bring that up because as you were talking, what popped in my head is my Dungeons& and Dragons and my role-playing
Mhm.
books. So, I don't role play anymore, but there was a period of my life when I was a teenager, well up until almost 30, where Dungeons& and Dragons or Vampire the Masquerade every week with the same group of people, even to the point where we were live action role playing, which was really fun with Vampire. The point of this is I still have all those books. Now, I have not used those books in 25 years, and they are sitting in a loft in our guest cabin right now because when we moved, I could not bring myself to get rid of them. Why? Because they are a reflection of my internal life. I have joy from the experiences with those books,
Yeah.
and they're like one of the last connections to people I am no longer connected to. Um, but they really do need to be donated, right? I'm never going to play Dungeons and Dragons again, at least not tabletop, right? That part of my life is over. I've outgrown it. There's nothing wrong with it. If you enjoy it, good for you. But again, I haven't used them in 25 years. So why do I still have them?
Right. And I'm
You
not
know,
talking about your Dungeons and Dragons, not fetish, but your attachment.
you're the one that always wants to play Baldur's Gate. Thank you very much.
I have to get the worm out of the head. I have to do it somehow. Anyway,
Folks, if
back
you
on
don't know
point.
Baldur's Gate 3, that's the premise. You're trying to solve the fact that there is a parasite about to kill you, essentially.
You have
But
to get that
anyway.
out. That's essential. Anyway, so if you have things, which most of us do, which are not essential and do not bring us joy, most often they are just a weight to your mental well being. And I know that most people don't think of it as weight, but when I gave the example of the lawnmower, you don't really think about all the things that go into caretaking for a lawnmower or caretaking for any of the items that we have. We just think of, oh, that will solve this problem at this time. And so we constantly consume. And then society wants us to consume because then we're playing into all the rich and famous and everything that they want to achieve, not knowing that. I mean, I think I saw a math problem the other day of how much does it take to save like $10,000 a year? It's something like $27 a day. How much does it take to waste $10,000 a year? It's spending $27 a day, right? And so, one of the quotes that I had written down that I wanted to bring up to you is the enemy isn't only consumerism now, it's decadence and distraction, both material and not. And that
Okay,
impacts us in work and in our personal life.
I actually really like that, the decadence part. Um, we have become a society that is manipulated by about 10 companies. Your happiness, your relationship health, your productivity, your ability to be intentional. It's all driven by, uh, if you're on social media, by influencers. If you're not on social media, it's driven by what you consume, largely through the radio or TV or your phone, right? That is decadence. There's a Bruce Springsteen song, 57 channels and nothing's on. If you have 6 streaming providers and you can't find something to watch, unsubscribe from 5. Reduce or eliminate the illusion of choice to create the opportunity of it.
One of the next things that I wanted to say was, from this book, minimalism is the thing that gets us past the things so we can make room for life's important things, which aren't things at all.
Oh, no, that's definitely true. A perfect example for young families is it the right time to have a child, right? As a husband, wife, you're always talking if you're planning on having a family, you have this conversation a lot. Can we afford it? What about daycare? What about health insurance? What about, on and on and on and on. Am I gonna work? Are you gonna work? Are we both gonna work? Is there, are we gonna get a nanny? Any number of different levels. But the thing is, there's literally never a good time to have a child, ever. You are not prepared for it. You are not ready for it. I don't care what stage of life you're in. We have a dear friend that recently found out, oops, she did it again. And, you know, she's like, I don't know if we're ready for this. It's like, you're not. But so what? That's what actually matters is having that family, not having a new truck or another streaming service. I mean, you said yourself $27 a day. Well, $27 will buy you a burger and a beer. That's it. If you're eating real food, I'm not talking about McDonald's. If you're eating real food, 27 bucks is a burger and a beer. Can you give up a burger and a beer? Can you pack your lunch? Save literally like 24 of that $27 just by packing your lunch, by being intentional with your choice.
Right. But when we have all of that, those companies that are manipulating us to essentially live off of them, be dependent on them for our happiness, and we believe that consumerism, I mean, we don't think of it as consumerism, but having more, having nicer things, having, the bowls that aren't chipped, or, the nice area rugs that haven't been stained, or, just or the bigger house, right? I mean, if you think big like, I have a really good friend that has this ginormous house, and I have no idea how in debt she is, but I know that it's a lot, right? And debt is something that we have normalized to the point where it's just something that we do. We don't even think about it anymore. We don't even consider, like, how is this actually affecting my stress levels or my mental health?
So I do think we need to pay homage here. We're not suggesting this is easy,
No, of course not.
right? I mean, it is a very hard thing when you roll up. In fact, it really is a testament to values and how strong your value system is. If you're willing to roll up in that shitty truck next to all those $90,000 trucks, that says something about you that's actually quiet and a lot more powerful than the people that are willing to have $90,000 trucks.
Hmm.
Um, but that doesn't make it easy. I mean, now let me be fair. I don't have a shitty truck, but it is an 11-year-old truck. And every time I pull into the local watering hole, one, it's an F-150. I live in Montana. Everybody drives a damn 350. So when, in Western Washington, I was one of the biggest things on the road, and now I'm in a go-kart of a truck. Um, but it makes me look at new trucks,
Yeah.
right? it makes me look I want that 6.7, I want that diesel, I wanna make sure it's deleted because we can legally do that in Montana. I want it to be at least an F-250. Do I need an F-250? No, which is why I don't have one, but it doesn't mean I don't sometimes want one.
Another quote from them that's powerful is that eh, let me word better. The
Functionable.
temptation let me word better. The temptation of debt has a way of erasing our identities, replacing them with the vast struggle to be like everyone else.
Absolutely, and, outside of a mortgage, which I completely understand why people get mortgages. Not very few people can drop 800 grand so they don't have a mortgage, right? It took until I was in my 50s to be able to make the right decision at the right time to be able to buy a property outright, and that property doesn't have plumbing, so right? But we have no debt.
Perspective.
Yeah, perspective, but we have no debt, right? We were willing to make that sacrifice. But credit card debt, it's bad. I mean, even ourselves, where we have a very small, comparatively interest rate on our credit cards, we pay it off every month. And we have a credit card specifically because you have to have a credit score. You have to Society doesn't allow you to exist without the perception that they have a stranglehold on you, right? You have to have a credit card or you don't have a credit score, because if you don't have a credit score, when you need credit, and there are times when it is appropriate, you won't be able to get it.
Which is dumb.
It is dumb. It's absolutely dumb, but that's the way it is. Society works in a fashion that if they do not have a GPS monitor on where you're going, that's called your cell phone, folks, you don't exist, right? And that's a real problem. Um, but with minimalism, Amanda, we talked about essentialism last time, and they seem so similar, right? Can you give us a more down to earth or more concrete example of how essentialism is different than minimalism?
Honestly, when I make it work in my brain, minimalism is about the stuff that you carry, the weight that you carry through all of that stuff. And the easiest way is literally your stuff. Your stuff that's in that closet or that junk drawer that is there because you can't get rid of it. The things that you have to maintain or that give you burden that at some point solved a problem, but that you're still not willing to part ways with. And minimalism is not consuming for a purpose, but consuming
For the
thoughtlessly.
sake of consuming.
Yeah, to fill a hole. And that's when it leads into something that is this big burden that causes us stress and internal damage. And minimalism too can be actually applied to health and tech. The quote that I pulled out for this is just like the excess stuff in our lives, our health problems don't go away when ignored. The clutter and the disease mount with each year that passes. I mean, we don't even think about that.
I'll give you for tech people, I'll give you a real simple example. Our team battles this all the time. And Amanda battles this like it was a third arm smacking her in the head. If you cannot read the titles of the tabs on your browser, you have too many open, right? You are creating a non-minimalist, a non-intentional, a non-essential environment that does nothing but create stress, because you've got to figure out which tab you got to go to. All those tabs are a constant reminder, either A, of your distraction, or B, of you not getting anything done. Usability people, when the tabs came out, instead of having separate windows, were it was the rave. Oh, now I can just have everything in one window. It's terrible. You should have 4 tabs, right? There should never be a guess, because if you're doing more than that, you're not actually doing. It's just a context switch.
It's letting all of the noise control all of the stuff that needs to be done instead of being intentional and intentionally choosing your own priority. Even if that's dictated by somebody else, like your boss, but if you have so many things open that you can't focus, and by you, I definitely mean we, because I have, I think, 50 tabs right here, um, then there's no actual priority. You are not cutting out the noise, you are letting yourself give attention to all the different areas. You're not gonna make progress, which means you're not gonna feel fulfilled, and that's just gonna add to the cycle of chronic stress.
Yeah, and, as we close this out, anyone paying attention can tell we're both in the cabin. Amanda's in the other room. I'm actually standing on or not, I'm not standing, but standing in front of our kitchen counter, and I'm looking around and, I used that, sink example, um, and I think that there's a real simple way for anyone, like, if people are like, "Okay, am I doing it enough?" Essentialism or minimalism or whatever. 1, only you can decide that, but 2, here's a very practical way to know if you're not minimalist enough. It is 2 in the morning, you've gotta go pee, and do you end up kicking something on the floor as you're walking through the house? If you cannot walk through your house in the dark, you have too much stuff.
So you're gonna get rid of the dog's toys now?
No, the dog's toys get put away, but I don't ever kick the dog's toys at night, right? But, there have been times when there's a Bluetooth speaker that's just not where it's supposed to be, right? Or we moved the table because we were trying to get something from under the couch and we didn't move it back, right?
You know, your Bluetooth speaker comment really reminded me about how we're your other comment about keeping up with the Joneses. We gotta have the newest
Mhm.
version of the newest Samsung Galaxy tablet, or the newest iPhone, or the newest laptop. And do we really? Do we actually need that? Or
If you
are we
want
doing it because we have this thing that we're trying to fill and we think that we will feel better if we have it?
if you want to have more control over your life and you want corporations to have less control over you, upgrade your phone every 5 years.
Consume less.
Consume less. It's not even just I mean, yes, that's the core of it. If you consume less, the corporations will actually start to serve you instead of you serving them, right? They'll have no choice because no one's buying their crap. But I can tell you right now, if you're let's say you're an Apple person, the Apple 18 isn't giving you anything that the Apple 14 couldn't give you. Unless remember it's supposed to be a phone. And with that folks, this has been another Health and Tech with Amanda Nystrom, National Health Board certified health and well-being coach.